Get this party started, baby. We got turret in the div. We're gonna pull in Carthage. He said give him about another 10 minutes or so, so we're just gonna chill out and do that. But while we're sitting here waiting, I want to go over the dev block that hit yesterday, because I think there's a lot of really ridiculously good stuff that's coming down the pipe. Massive buffs across the board, guys. Get over here to monitor 2. What up? Call me St. Nikolai. What's happening, man? We'll start right at the top, everybody. As you can see, a lot of changes coming down the pipe, and you guys can go over here to the dev block and see for yourself. We're just going to skim over it the best we can here. A lot of good things happening, guys. Novoretsky's getting a Sigma value increase, so that's going to be more accurate guns. Basically a tier 6 copy of the Julius Cesare, so I'm really excited about that. The Renown, I think, needed a little bit of love, and it looks like they're getting that main battery gun parameters changed. Reload time reduced from stock of 23.5 down to 22 seconds, so a second and a half off your reload, which is really good. Improved shell ballistics. That's really important with battleship guns, guys. They're not going to be as floaty. Stock fire control system range increased from 15.8 to 16.3, so that's really good for tier 6, guys. Rechargeable gunfire system range increased from 17.4 to 17.9, so again, just gun increase across the board. Also, they're decreasing the time your turrets take to traverse, which is really exciting. Bolognese is getting some love. Max AP damage is getting an increase from 3,000 to 3,200, which is good. I think that's going to add up pretty good over the time. Combat instruction parameters changed. Consumable reload parameter bonus increased from 75 to 80%. That's really good. Letargo, the Italian DD line, especially at mid to low tiers, I think is kind of suffering a little bit. Right now, the Letargo at tier 7 can be a hard ship to play. Emergency engine power let me start over. Emergency engine power consumable parameters change. Action time increased from 25 seconds to 40, guys, to 40 seconds. Reload time decreased from 160 to 120 seconds. That means you can your engine boost lasts longer, and you have the ability to set up for a more kind of like an ambushy style tactic longer, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. Sturdy subs, they're changing some subs here. Change second battery shell ballistics. They will now become flatter. Okay, so they're just giving them flatter guns, deck guns for the 2 subs. Belfast 43. This is another ship that was released here. They took basically what was the original OG Belfast, moved it up to tier 8, called it the 43, basically gave it short duration smoke and I think like a short duration radar. So main battery gun reload time reduced from 10 to 8.5 seconds. That's pretty good. Now this is before multipliers, guys, before any kind of ship build or anything else like that. HE's fire chance increased from 9 to 11, so that's pretty huge. Turn traverse time increased from 25.7 to 22.5, so that's really good. All this is good stuff, guys. Number of surveillance radar chargers increased from 2 to 3. So if you're not running Superintendent, you can bring that number up to 3 and not just 2, which is super handy. I think that's pretty much on par with every other tier 8 radar cruiser in the game, so that's not abnormal. What up, MTG? Steven the Jeep, what's happening, guys? We're just going over some the new changes here coming down the pipe for patch 14.0. So let's move on here. The Pravorsky, fun ship to play. Maximum AP damage. That's an AP only cruiser, guys. Increase from 3,000 to 3,300, which is good. That ship kind of needed it. Damage output on that thing was kind of lacking, and mostly because you don't have HE. The Converti engine. Okay, so the tier 8 tech tree DD line. Converti. I can't say that right. There's no way I'm going to be able to say that right. But tier 8 Italian DD engine side looks like it's getting the same love here as Letargo or similar to it. Emergency engine power consumer parameters change. Action time from 25 seconds to 40. Reload time decreased from 160 seconds to 120 seconds. So not only is it going to last longer, but the cooldown on it's going to come up quicker. And I think that's something very similar. It looks like almost an identical copy pasta for what they're doing with the tier 7. So that's fantastic. The tier 8 split, the Pan-European DD line. This is another ship that definitely needed some love. Main battery guns reload time reduced from 3.6 to 3.4. Torpedo launcher reload time reduced from 68 seconds to 60 seconds. So that was a ship that was just underperforming. Honestly, is one of my least favorite ship to play out of that entire line. So I'm glad they're kind of giving it some love here. Now let's move on. This is huge, guys. For those of you who are lucky enough to have the Champagne, okay, the French battleship, 6 guns. I believe now it's kind of a rare ship. While the Champlain performed well in terms of damage, her impact on the battle was somewhat low. Therefore, we're adding main battery reload booster consumer to help her impact battles in important moments. Yeah, so that's really good. You got a good chance. Well, remember, that ship only has 6 guns. So that's a really good boost there if they're going to give it a reload booster. Now, the Champlain, I like to compare that to a Tier 8 Slava. It has the best pen out of any other AP shell in the game at Tier 8. So you're going to slap on a reload booster with that thing. That thing's just going to just pummel cruisers left and right. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. Adding the missing parameter for main battery reload booster consumable for Champlain. Okay. Marco Polo, again, getting some love. This was a ship that was buffed about 6 months ago, guys. Main battery gun reload time reduced from 36 seconds to 34.5. Good. Love seeing the Marco Polo get some love. I think that got a Sigma buff not too long ago. It wasn't much, but it was like they gave it like I think a 0.1 Sigma increase or something like that for the Marco Polo. Now they're decreasing the reload on the guns. So they're doing some more fine-tuned adjustments with the Marco Polo. Absolutely love that. Donskoy, Tier 9 Tech Shriek light cruiser. That's on the Nebetsky line. Surveillance radar consumable action time increase from 25 seconds to 30. That's actually pretty big because that's a ship that really takes a long time. It's kind of hard to use its radar, especially at the beginning of the game, unless you want to put yourself in some really risky opportunities. And as a DD player, I normally didn't care if a Dunskoy was radar on me because I know it only lasted 25 seconds. So that was pretty cool. Vum Boom, what's up, Vum Boom? I'm here to help push. Well, that's good, man. What up, Carthage, Buff, Steven of the G, Progs, what's happening, guys? All right, let's continue on. I'm trying to blow through this as fast as we can so we can get into the games. I want to put this on my YouTube channel, so if you missed it, guys, then fear not, you'll be able to have a chance to see this later. Look at this. He's in getting some love. I love to see it. That was a dockyard ship that came out, man, almost, 2 years ago? Main battery gun reload time reduced from 38 seconds to 34. So that's going to be a lot more playable now. That's going to be fun to play. Dylan the cruiser, the Pan Asian cruiser, main battery gun parameters changed. Range increased from 13.5 to 14.1. That is fantastic. That's something that whole line kind of suffers with, is short gun range. So I'm really excited about that. Reload time reduced from 4.9 to 4.5. So that thing's definitely going to be a lot more impactful. This is huge, guys. I'm really, really excited about the Tulsa buff. Look at this, guys. Tulsa is compared to possibly like a Tier 9 Alaska kind of thing, but it never really performed like the Alaska. Dispersion improved. It now has it and now corresponds with standard destroyer shell dispersion patterns. So this thing's going to be as accurate as most of your current destroyers in the game, guys. That's a massive buff for the Tulsa. That ship's really going to be playable. I think that ship only has 8 guns too. So giving that anything it can to help land shells is going to be really good. Same thing. All right, so this is what they're doing. Right from the Tier 7 all the way up through the Tier 9, at least. The Tier 9 Radical, the Italian DD. Same thing, guys. Emergency power consumable parameters changed. Action time increased from 25 seconds to 60 seconds at Tier 9, guys. That's really massive. 6 guns. Tulsa only has 6 guns. Okay, gotcha. So that's a massive buff for the Tulsa. Continuing on here, the Radical, emergency engine power consumable change, blah, blah, blah. That's pretty much a copy pasta to the Tier 8. Yeah, so the current rating is going to 120. The Tier 9 is also going to 120. So that's good. reload or reduce your cooldowns reduced to 120 seconds versus 160. So you'll be able to use your engine boost a lot more with the Erratico. Quezon, the tier 9 Quezon, again, the Pan American European DD line, guys, from like tier 7 on that line all the way up through until you hit the Holland, I think is very painful to play. So to see the Pan American DD lines getting some, I'm sorry, Pan European DDs getting some love, I love to see it. Main battery guns reload time reduced from 3.8 down to 3.3. That's all, dude. That's pretty sick. Torpedo launcher reload time down from 68 seconds to 60. And this is stock, guys. This is before any commander builds, any kind of like ship builds or anything along that line. It's really awesome. Oh, I cannot say this ship's name. It's basically it's a battleship. It's a IGN tier 9 battleship premium. It was only available, I think, for a short time. I'm not sure if it's currently available. I could be wrong. But it's a tier 9 copy pasta of the Georgia. It's an IGN version of a Georgia with less armor. Main battery gun reload time reduced from 25 to 24 seconds, so they're taking a full seconds off of that. HE shell ballistic parameters change will now result in flight trajectory becoming flatter, identical to that of the HP, which I think they should do anyways, guys. I really don't understand why pretty much any ship in this game needs a different shell ballistic trajectory between the two shells. I know you can argue the historical value of that, blah, blah, blah. It's an arcade game, guys. Let's keep it somewhat consistent. I think that's a great change. Turning radius is also reduced from 970 to 890. So that's really good. That's really good. Number of repair consumables from 3 to 4. That's awesome for a ship that has, I think, 27 millimeter bow and stern. Any chance you get to like not be on fire a lot and often is a good thing. But that's stock, guys. That's stock. That doesn't include if you run Superintendent. If you run in Superintendent, you can get up to 5 repair parties on that thing. Republic tier 10 French battleship tech tree ship is getting a Sigma value increase from 2 to 2.1. That is massive. That's going to have similar, I think the same Sigma as the Beijing, which is the tier 9 IGM battleship, which currently has, I think, the most accurate battleship guns in the game. Now followed very closely by the Republic. So that's exciting. Jinan. I didn't think this ship needed a buff, but they're giving it anyways. HP pool increase. I do agree with that. From 30,700 hit points to 32,500 hit points. So that's really cool. Gives it a little bit more survivability. I'm okay with that. HE shell parameters change. Maximum damage increase from 1,800 to 1,900. Okay, that's not super huge, but you know, for a high rate of fire cruiser, that over time will add up pretty good. Fire chance increase from 9 to 11. That's awesome. Torpedo max damage increase. Look at this, guys. This is nuts. These are deep water torps too. Stealthy as hell. Torpedo maximum damage increase from 17.9 to 18,800, guys. That's massive. That's a massive buff right there. That's almost 1,000 more damage, just shy of 1,000 more damage than what they currently can do max damage. That's pretty nuts. 9% is really bad. I have 10.5. So yeah, exactly. Bear with me, guys. I'll try to get caught up with chat here in a little bit. I'm just trying to wing through this as quickly as possible so I can post this to my YouTube. Then we'll continue onto the stream. Oregano. So the tier 10, the whole Italian DD line, guys, starting at tier 7 all the way up to tier 10 is getting the copy pasta buff here, which is super good. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. We already talked about it. It's the exact same buff as the tier 7, tier 8, and tier 9. They're doing with the tier 10. I agree with that 100%. Now, Zhao. It's again getting some much needed love. I agree with most of what they're doing here. However, me personally, I would like to see the Zhao get an armor buff. I think that's the biggest problem that they have with that ship right now. Personal take. But as far as improving the characteristics of the Zhao, we will take whatever it is that they can give us because that ship is in a really, really bad spot right now. both the premium version of the CLR when that was available for a short time and the stock Zao. Named battery turret angles improved. Firing angles of the first turret widened by 8 degrees, so that's pretty significant. Firing angles of the second turret widened by 1 degree per side. Firing angles of the third turret widened by 4 degrees, and fire angles of the fourth widened by 9. So you don't have to open up as much in the Zao to get all your guns on target. I completely agree with that. I still think with so many 457mm guns that are currently in the game, you still run the risk of getting blapped. But at least what they're doing is trying to get you to be able to perform with that ship where you don't have to show as much side to other battleships, which I think is great. They're also doing the same thing with the torpedo angles, which the Zao has some of the worst torpedo angles in the game. So this is really good. Let's go over this really quick. Torpedo term and feature added to the ship. As a result of this addition, the following changes were made. Forward firing angles for all torpedo tubes increased by 10 degrees. That's pretty good with the Zao. That's actually really massive. Backwards firing angles for all torpedo tubes increased by 45 degrees. So you're going to be able to kite with the Zao. The Zao is a kiter anyways. That's what it's built for. So now you can wing torps behind you like you always needed to do. So I totally agree with everything they're doing here with the Zao. I think that's a massive buff, not only for the guns, the turret angles, but the torp tubes as well. I think that's really good. And that's very comparable to most of the other cruisers that wing torps in this game at tier 10. So they're bringing that up to the level of where a lot of other cruisers are as far as like how much side you need to show to send torps. But 45 degrees, guys. Buffing it by 45 degrees. That's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, no, it does. It makes a big difference. Best thing we could ask for. Yeah, no, it's really good. Really good. Really, really, really good, guys. Now here, the tech tree ship, the IGN battleships from tier 8 to tier 10. HE shell ballistics parameters changed. This will result in a flight trajectory becoming flatter, identical to the AP shells. We talked about this. I agree with that 100%, guys. It's an arcade game. I understand the flight times, angles between like an AP round IRL and an HE round IRL are going to be dramatically different. Like the Americans, I think, had a AP shell that weighed 2,700 pounds, where their high capacity HE round weighed like 2,300. So you're going to have in real life a different trajectory, different ballistics for each kind of shell. That being said, it's an arcade game, guys. This is not, I mean, you could argue that argument till the end of time. I don't care. I think this is good. Consistency is good. Actual consistency is great. Okay, let's move on here down to some of the super ships. Following changes to combat instructions conditions were made in order to improve overall playing experience significantly in situations when shooting targets that you lose spotting on, or well behind firing at targets that are in smoke and outside obstacles. Yeah, okay, so we get that. The amount of progress for fulfilling the new conditions have been increased to compensate for new requirements of direct hits on target. Hanover and Admiral Kushikov have received additional conditions to complement their gameplay and improve their effectiveness in battle. Ooh, that was a mouthful, guys. Additionally, we have made change to the Hydro Search consumable for Hanover and Coswit. We'll get to this in a second, guys. This is a massive buff. Although Coswitz and Hanover will perform with intolerances, they fall towards the low end for the super ships. Yeah, with what they are built for, within inside the realm of super ships, they're on the lower spectrum for what they are. And honestly, we've joked about it before when they put super ships into operations. Myself and a bunch of others are basically like, great, finally the Hanover has a place to exist, right? So finally the Hanover is getting some much needed love, and they're changing the way the combat instructions work, and they're also giving it a massive buff with the Hydro. So we'll go over that. And a ship, especially in a ship that doesn't turn very well, because it's just insanely massive, any kind of Hydro buff will be really good. All right, let's continue on here. Satsuma. Combat instruction parameters changed. Removed current progress conditions. Added new progress conditions. Hit an enemy ship with a main battery shell for 8%. I don't know what the older one was, but I think this is a buff. Basically, when you hit a target, your combat instructions move up quicker. Your funny button will come up quicker. Combat instruction parameters changed for the Uchikov. Remove current parameter condition. Added new conditions. Hit an enemy ship with a main battery. Gives you 6%. Receive 2,000 potential damage, 0.1. Okay, so that's a good. Again, your funny button's going to come up quicker. Now, Hanover, guys. This is what we're getting into here. The meat and potatoes of this whole thing. Combat instruction parameters change. Remove the current progress conditions. Added new conditions. Hit an enemy ship with main battery. Gives you minus 10%. Hit a enemy ship with a secondary guns gives you minus 0.5%. So, again, every time you hit a ship, your funny button's going to come up quicker. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. But look at this, guys. Hydro search consumable range increased from 6 to 7. 7-kilometer hydro, guys, on the Hanover. Now, look at this. We come down here to the Coswitz. Okay, the Hindenburg tier 11, I guess that line, basically the tier 11 cruiser, German cruiser on the Hindenburg line, Coswitz. Hydro consumable range also increased from 6 to 7. That's going to be able to spot a lot of stuff behind rocks, guys. When you're parked in your little sweet little cruiser spot, and you're going to be able to see torps coming from a lot farther away. So I think that's a massive buff for the Coswitz. One of the few nerfs that are coming into this changes here for the Jacksonville. We all know that was released not too long ago and incredibly powerful in its current state. Main battery firing range reduced from 18.2 to 17.2. So they're taking a full kilometer off the firing range of that ship. I don't disagree with that at all. I think that's a good change because that ship is incredibly broken. Move from Handy to Coswitz. Yeah. That's right, Edson. Super hydro for super ships. You know it. Continuing on here. We're updating AWS parameters for several ships, matching them with the standard values for ships. We want to highlight here a change very frequently requested by our community for Battleship Massachusetts and Musashi. Finally, guys. Finally. We'll go over this here. Let's just skip right to that because they brought it up here. Massachusetts and Musashi getting a depth charge range increase from 5 to 10 kilometers. About time, guys. About time. That was one of my biggest complaints with those two ships. With subs that can ping you from 9, 10, 12 kilometers away, the Massachusetts and the Musashi really struggled to defend themselves against subs with such a short depth charge airstrike range. So they're finally bringing them on par with basically the corresponding battleships that are currently available at their tier. I think that's fantastic. However, their maximum bomb damage reduced from 4,200 down to 25. So even though you can bomb subs at a farther range, they're going to do less damage. I don't think that's really a problem. I'm okay with that. Let's get back up to where we were here. Montcalm, I don't know how to say that. French cruiser, depth strike, airstow reload time reduced from 30 to 20. So again, you just have more depth charges coming up faster. I can't say this name, but it's the Spanish cruiser here, the Spanish premium cruiser in this game. Number of depth charges, airstrike reduced from 3 down to 1 maximum. Okay, bomb damage increased from 1,600 to 2,900. Bomb splash damage range increase. So they're basically, they did that not too long ago, guys. They did that. That was a buff that they did just airstrike bombs across the board after subs were released. I think a couple patches after subs were released. So they're just bringing that on par to the way things are right now. I really don't have anything against that. I mean, basically, you see a sub, you drop on it, you don't care what your max damages are, you just want to put warheads on foreheads. So I'm down with that. FR25, finally getting a buff. We'll take it anyway. I think this thing needs a reload buff, but they are increasing the max damage of the depth charges from 2,400 to 3,200. So that's pretty significant. I'll take it. I think the FR25 is in a weird spot. It has less DPM right now than ships at tier 7. I'm sorry, tier 6. However, I've been beat up by that FR25 in my Leningrad many times. SAP just doesn't care. It doesn't care what you're angling at. So I think they did buff it. They did give it some damage increases with its depth charges, but I really think it needed a reload increase. And we might see that in the future. Now, again, we went over this already for the Massachusetts Musashi. The Raj. Tier 9 DD, the Raj. Number of depth charge bombs increased from 8 to 10. So you can drop more depth charges on a sub. Z42 depth charge damage increased from 2200 to 2400. Number of depth charge bombs increased from 8 to 12. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. They're just giving it the ability to do more damage to subs. I'm all for it. A lot of depth charges, buffs. I love to see it. Yeah, everybody does. I think that's a good thing across the board. Now, here we go. The Jaeger. The Jaeger, the AL Jaeger, the Siegfried, and I don't know how to say that name, but it's a Pan-Asian Tier 9 cruiser. Number of depth charges for airstreams decreased from 3 to 2. Bomb damage increased from 16 to 4200. That's actually pretty good. Splash damage range increase. Again, we talked about that. That's something that they did very similar to something that came out a while ago. And again, please know all information in the dev blogs is preliminary. Announced adjustments and features may change multiple times during testing. The final information will be published on our game's website. That's pretty good, guys. A lot of big things. That's a mouthful, guys. That's going to be a long YouTube video, but a lot of really good things happening to a lot of really good ships here coming in at patch 14.0. So that's right around the corner, guys. A few weeks away. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Perfect time to raid. Oh, craziness, guys. Did we get a raid come in? Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Who do we get a raid from? Yo, the White Wolf coming in with a massive raid. What up, White Wolf? My alerts aren't working on this game stream, guys. We're just finishing up going over the dev blog. If you missed it, then fear not. We will be posting that segment to our YouTube. What up, the White Wolf? How you doing, buddy? Hope you're doing well, man. Oh, what a good day to be alive. Welcome, Raiders. This is what a fantastic. Let's celebrate, chat. What do you say? What do you say? Let's open up a giveaway. We're going to give away one Santa Mega Gift Crate. Exclamation point gets you with the giveaway, guys. Must be a follower to enter the giveaway. Must be present to